I'm asking Leah to record for us because our internet is so wonky. I don't want to miss anything. But we get new internet tomorrow, so I'm praying that our internet saga is over. And yes, I've built a business with this internet, so it's possible. But it's not possible for distant learning. So we're fixing it. Welcome to Team Call Tuesday, guys. I am so excited to see you all. I know we only missed 1 week, but I'm so used to connecting with you guys. I hate when we miss a week, but I appreciate you guys. A couple things before we go into the call. Number one, pumpkin spice has not sold out yet. So if you have been holding out and waiting to get it, or you still have people who want it, or you need to restock, go get it. Number two, I wanted to make sure everyone knows that 30-day breakaway, there's a sample in Beachbody On Demand, but we also have a Vimeo link if you want to send that to people. Let's get people excited about this. I did something yesterday where I said, I think I said something as simple as like, who on my friends list is a runner? And I had like 50 comments, right? People are going to engage with you, but go try that workout. It's so dang good. Just when I think like we have everything, Beachbody continues to be innovative. So this is going to speak to the masses. And actually, Heather, who's on the call, I know she's not on screen. She was just in the test group, and I'm so proud of her. It's exciting because I remember talking to her before, and she was like, I don't know, not a runner. Should I do this? And I'm like, do it. Pray about it. Talk to your husband, but do it. And she had really good feedback from it. So I'm excited. Maybe we'll get her on a call soon and be able to, really hear firsthand what her takeaways were. I think that's a lot of what I wanted to cover tonight. Those of you who are pushing for the team retreat, if this hasn't been communicated to you, I'm going to pause on that. Never mind. I'm not going to say anything. My personally sponsored coaches, though, we are doing a small gathering in Zephyr Cove, which is Nevada, next month. So those of you who want to qualify for that, see our personally sponsored team page, and we'll go over that. But guys, there's so much year left. I know it's like 3.5 months and we're going to get to the holidays, it's going to feel like, but whatever you want to achieve, I want you to stay focused and committed to your goals, whether it's a health transformation, whether it's a financial transformation. By a show of hands, who could benefit for paying for Christmas with cash, right? I know when I first got started, that was like a big deal to me to think about. And so that's something that I want you guys to be thinking about. What's your Christmas budget? Are you constantly putting Christmas on credit card? Do you have a Christmas trip that you'd like to take? Because you have an incredible opportunity at your fingertips that can afford you to do that. So start thinking about those things. I really want to get you guys in the mindset of going into the final quarter of the year, because the work you do right now, guys, it really does matter as we move into 2021. Okay, so I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to introduce you guys to Aimee Coppola. Many of you guys know who she is. If you don't, Aimee is actually a part of our upline. And I remember the first time I ever received a message from Aimee Coppola. I was a brand new business building coach, and she just reached out and she said, I don't know what you guys are doing, but keep it up because you guys are rocking. And that message meant everything to me. And now she's one of my great friends. We've been able to travel a lot, but I just have so much respect for her. She's been in the business a couple years longer than me, and she's a part of the Millions Club. We've hit elite together. We've been to leadership together. She's just an incredible human. If you don't know her story, I'm sure she's going to share a small part of it tonight. But I asked her to come in and just talk about mindset. I think she is absolutely, for me, when I think about mindset, I always think about Aimee. So I hope you guys love tonight's call. I hope you're ready. So I'm going to hand it over to her.
Thank you. Sorry, that awkward unmute moment. Just so I can know, kind of get a little better bearings on exactly where you guys are at tonight, what you're feeling, how you're doing in the space that you're in right now. How many of you are in West Coast? Is there a lot all over the place, or is it primarily West Coast? Okay. And how many are moms? Okay.
Yeah.
And how many are brand new baby coaches? Any brand new baby coaches? No? Okay. Kind of. Well, you're a success starter if you were in the test group, so I'm proud of you already. So even if you are a brand new baby-ish coach, you're rocking it. So congratulations. Okay, my name is Aimee, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys tonight. As Melissa said, like we've gotten to know each other, you know, and it's been such a blessing to watch your team. I've been coaching for 8 years now. It was my 8-year anniversary in July, and you know, Melissa and you guys are on, we share the same leg. So it's really neat because I'm able to see sometimes when you guys add to your team and different things like that. So a lot of your names I'll see pop up in my organization that says, hey, Leah added a coach, Heather added a coach. And it's like so exciting because I can see that left leg and I can see your team just absolutely thriving. And Melissa has done just an incredible job of really just rising in these past few years. And it's been such a beautiful thing to watch and be part of. And, you know, as she said, I am like in your family tree. So if there's anything I can ever do to help you, please feel free to reach out. And I'm happy to help you in any way I can. But we'll get started. I'll tell you a little bit about myself, and then I have a little PowerPoint presentation I'm going to walk you through. And I think more than anything, you guys need probably a heart hug right now. And if I could be honest with you, I need a heart hug too tonight in this quarter, in this season of our life. But I also know that what's really an awesome accompaniment to a heart hug is a swift kick in the butt, right? Because we can either choose to stay where we're at and just sit in it, which is okay sometimes, but we can also have, and I'm going to go into a little bit more detail on it, but we also have the opportunity to also use our circumstances, use our season to really empower us, even when it seems like you've got to be crazy talking to me about that right now. But I'm going to hopefully show you a few little mind hacks that we can all use right now. And in pertaining to our, you know, your own situation, where you're at. Again, everybody's in different parts and different seasons, but I'm a heart hug it and kick in the butt tonight, and I hope you're up for that and excited for that. So Melissa, can I share screen?
You should be able to.
If you make me a co-host or something, I think it'll allow me to share screen. And I have a little PowerPoint. It's mostly to keep me on topic, because what'll start happening is I just go off on tangents. So I get really passionate about mindset, and you'll see why in a minute. But if not, the PowerPoints can help me just stay on topic a little bit. Okay, I see I'm host now, so let me go ahead and share screen. And we will go ahead and press play on this bad boy. My daughter's singing instead of getting in bed like I told her. Anybody else want to heart hug me? All right. I'm like, go to bed. It's 9. I'm on the East Coast. I'm in Miami. So I always forget how to play. Slideshow. Here we go. Play from start. All right. Okay. So this is really, this is funny. Honestly, I'm going to be straightforward. This is a PowerPoint that I created a little bit towards the end of last year, and it's got some of just my favorite pieces in here. But it's really crazy to think about, even from this year, from, you know, January to now, who would have ever thought, you know, the things that we would go through, the things that we would experience. But, you know, I have here listed, people often underestimate what they can do in a year, but overestimate what they can do in a year, but underestimate what they can do in 5 years. And so it's funny because we'll do these vision boards, and I love vision boards. I love having ideas and you know, big, hairy, scary goals for the year. But sometimes we do those and we have these big visions and dreams, and we fall short. I fall short of them all the time. And then, you know, you kind of start beating yourself up, or, oh man, I'm putting that on my vision board again. But a lot of times what we fail to look at is what we can do over the term of 5 years. if you look back 5 years after you've been in this business or on your health journey or really into some, form of growth in your life, and you look at 5 years back, like the difference that can happen in 5 years is just unbelievable. It really, really is. So, it's something that I want you to keep in mind as we move through this. When I started, this was the beginning, picture of me. I was 34 years old, mom of two. I had a divorce that was coming up. I was going through bankruptcy. My home was in foreclosure. I was an accounting manager. I was, used to doing very well, but 2007, 2008 hit, and both my husband at the time and I lost our job. The snowball of disaster. Our home here in Miami went to half of its value, and so a mortgage on it was way upside down. I was laid off at that point when I was coming back from maternity leave from my daughter. I was exhausted. I was lost, and some of you may even be in this place now. A lot of this year really does remind me of that that season in my life in 2007, 2008, when you're just kind of feeling like everything is out of control. Like I just have to sit here and hold on because I don't even know what's coming next. It's not in my control. And that's kind of the season that I was in at this point. And what I finally started thinking about, in the midst of all of this was I'm a control freak, guys. I love being in control. So for me to be in that season, especially for that long, that was extremely uncomfortable to me. So what I finally started thinking about once I started trying to shake myself out of this was, what can I control? And I started, deciding, you know what, Aimee, you can control whether you decide to exercise every day. And that might not be everybody's first idea, but for me, that was because I'd grown up healthy and active. So this for me was very, out of my norm. To be 35 pounds over my normal and have that on me 2 years after my daughter was born, this was not postpartum, even though we like to call it baby weight. My babies were toddlers and beyond. So this, I started saying, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and control whether I decide to work out every day and what I put in my mouth. And everything else is, going to be crazy right now, but that's fine. And so then this is 6 years later, even though I said what we can do in 5 years, but 6 years later, this is me at 40 years old. Obviously I had a great physical transformation, but what, a picture won't always tell you, except this one I found yesterday. Maybe I'll share it with you guys. Hold on, come on. I saw this last night flipping through my phone, and I was like, some people like to say it's all about the bikini body or, your vein or this or that or the other. No. And I saw this picture last night. I showed it to my kids today. I was like, this is your mom. Do you even remember me like this? Oh, it's going to hide from me now. But what you can't see here really is the transformation that starts to happen on the inside. Oh, here it is. You guys aren't even going to believe this. Look at this. Can you see that? Look at my face. Like I can't even barely recognize myself. My eyes, and I was out and about, guys. I wasn't like in my bathrobe at home. Like this was, and just the spark and the transformation that can happen in your soul when you start to do an exercise program or something that you are finally committing to. And, when you start realizing, oh my gosh, this is hard, but I can do hard things. That's something empowering that we are able to give to our clients, that we're able to experience for ourselves, that says like, wow, this is something that is like shaking all of these cobwebs out of my brain and out of my soul. And I can do this. So, after, doing my first program, I became a coach because I thought, geez, I really want Shakeology. I recognized the nutritional value in it. And I thought, I really want that in my life. And I really thought that was going to give me those abs that I wanted. I had done the program. I didn't do it with Shakeology at first because I thought I couldn't afford it. And so, but when there's a will, there's a way. And during the course of that program, I really understood the nutritional value of Shakeology. So I decided I was going to figure out a way to buy Shakeology. So I learned how to sign up as a coach and get a discount. I took the money from my grocery budget because I wasn't going to be buying groceries for breakfast, for myself anymore. I told myself, within this month, you better get 3 people, because if not, next month you don't have money to pay for that Shakeology again. So that was the deal I made with myself. So sometimes when people come to me and they're in a financially hard place and they tell me, well, I can't sign up, I don't always buy that. A lot of times that's an excuse, because I was I was the worst of the worst. My car was towed out and repossessed out of my driveway. And I was just begging to get my kids' car seats out, right? Because I was in that place when I found this. And so, I know that I really wanted Shakeology. And so within that first month enrolling as a coach, that was my first goal that I set for myself without even realizing that I was finally goal setting for the first time in forever. But I said, I'm going to go ahead and enroll 3 people this month. If I don't, I'll cancel my account. No harm done, right? And so I read through the policies and procedures. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't going to get stuck in some, contract or, sneaky thing. And of course it wasn't. But within that, first month, 99 months ago, I got my first 3 people to enroll, cover the cost of my Shakeology for the following month. And that was my very first month of now 99 in Success Club. And, we'll talk a little bit more about Success Club and why it's so important without beating the same, drum, but really looking at it from a different way. But that experience that began to awaken, I wrote down here, the confidence, vision, inspiration, living with purpose, thriving, fulfillment. This was, the beginning of all of that shift for me. And it was really something that was facilitated by using our programs. So when you are giving the opportunity to somebody to engage in one of our programs, to be in one of your groups, please don't ever tiptoe around it. Please understand the opportunity that you're handing them and that you get to help them with. And so tonight, again, getting back to kind of the topic that we're going to go through quickly, I want to make sure the biggest challenge that we have in this business, if we're with Beachbody, we are the leader of the home fitness industry. We have the best programs. We have the best nutrition. So we do not have to worry about doing any of that. We have the best teams in place that cover all of that for us. What we really have to work on is ourselves and our mindset and making sure that we are at the top of our own personal game. And what an amazing benefit of being a coach, right? So here we have an extraordinary life. To me, is a life on my own terms, right? And so there's 2 pieces to that. The science of achievement, which is really what comes second nature to a lot of us who become coaches, right? The ability to produce results, earn Success Club, hit your ranks, take anything you envision and make it real. And this is achievements, right? Or you might want to refer to it as checking off the boxes, right? And some of you may have been, that personality type that likes to check off the boxes. I did this, I did that. But the other piece of that is really the art of fulfillment. And the art of fulfillment is defined, and a lot of this, guys, is coming from Tony Robbins. So if you've studied with Tony Robbins, if you've been to any of his events or read his books or done any of his virtual events now, this is a lot of Tony's content. I work, crew with Tony, so I've been fortunate enough to have been raised the last 7 years in this environment. But the art of fulfillment is really the ability to feel happiness and joy in the process, and to delight in the experience of life. So it's not just you're getting to the million club, you're getting to, superstar, you're getting to diamond, and you're like, now what? It's not thinking I'm going to be happy when I achieve X, Y, and Z. It's really understanding how to create that happiness and joy in the process. And sometimes that can be challenging, right? When it's the last day of the month and you haven't hit your goals, or when you are just feeling super overwhelmed, when all these things are happening that are outside of your control, and you just think like, what in the world am I supposed to do? And I'm supposed to invite challenge groups right now? Like, really? And so it's up to us to really create this for ourselves. And that's, people ask me all the time, like, how can you become a successful coach long-term? And it's to have this long-term commitment to your own mindset and to your growth, because this is the piece that really makes a difference. Because at the end of the day, success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. If you get to the end of that road and you've done all the things and you have all the money, and guys, it's there for all of us. It really, truly is. Whether you've wrapped your head around that or not, I'm telling you, the same opportunity that I've had to create, $1 million already, and the next million's on the way, and Melissa and everybody here, it's available to you as well. So it's not just a matter of how, it's basically a matter of when. And so that's something really exciting, but you don't want to get there and think that you're going to find happiness there. It's really about creating it along the way. So this is where, pain is part of life, but suffering about pain is optional. And this is sometimes hard to swallow, especially when you're in the middle of a pity party for yourself, because you're like, everything sucks. And you just kind of want to sit in this. And there's, Tony has like this 90-second rule kind of thing, where we allow ourselves to sit in that. We allow ourselves to sit in the frustration or grief or these, less than positive emotions, but then we realize that we have the ability to shift those emotions. And instead of, becoming the person who is just constantly at the manipulation of your own emotions, no, you're the one who's in control of your emotions. You get to choose when we end our suffering. And this was huge for me. I had gone through a lot of, serious life events leading up to when I, first started learning with Tony. And for him to tell me like, hey, you get to choose when you want to stop suffering about this. It was just like, what? Like, oh my gosh, I'd never thought about it that way. And so that was a huge piece for me to really understand, like, I can shift out of this. I've been feeling so sorry for myself, and rightfully so, right? A lot of things that are, not fair happen to people, and it's not diminishing what you've gone through or what you're going through is less than, absolutely incorrect or terrible, but it is saying like, I'm going to take back control of my emotions. And again, weaving this into the business, when you do that, you're able to press on in this business. You're able to say, hey, in the midst of this medical crisis, in the midst of this, this, that, the other, whatever it is, fill in the blank, I can still choose to rise above. I can still choose to, look that in the face and say, man, this is really tough, and continue pushing forward to my visions, my goals, my dreams. So I'm going to give you 3 quick little hacks to help end suffering, because I know that these have really helped me. And so one of them is to appreciate and enjoy, right? And I explain this to my kids all the time. Our brains are like little radio channels, right? And so we have channels, and if one of them walks in here, watch, they get annoyed at me. I say it so much. I'm like, what channel is your brain on right now? And because our brains are on channels. So if we're on the poor me channel, if we're on the suffering channel, if we're on the everything sucks channel, then you know what? Everything is going to suck. Every song that comes on that station is going to be about everything that sucks. Everything that you look around and see is going to be gray. But when you stop and you can choose, and again, another saying, what's wrong is always available, and so is what's right. So when you can find yourself in this state and say, wait a minute, hack number 1 is to appreciate and enjoy. You can start to take a look around and say, what can I enjoy right now? What can I enjoy right now? What can I appreciate? Can I appreciate that my kids are safe and sound next to me, even if it's not the ideal circumstance? Can I appreciate that there's food on my table? Can I appreciate that, X, Y, Z, fill in the blank? But when you can start to shift, it's going to help you change that channel, right? The second thing is to learn and to grow. So a lot of times when we're in a stagnant place or in a place of suffering, it's because we are in the same place. And, if you're not growing, you're dying. So we're always in this place of, wanting to create something, wanting to learn something new, wanting to grow. And when we do that, that really helps us, again, to shift the channel. Love, give, and be grateful, or another one with this is to serve. It's totally a hack, to be able to go out and serve other people. That is such an easy way for us to shift our perspective, shift our channels, is to be able to serve someone else. Okay, so even when you're in a really bad place, and when I started my business, I was in a really bad place in lots of different angles of my life, but I absolutely adored plugging into my challenge groups, because I was able to serve the women that were in my challenge groups. I knew that they were so excited to plug in and talk to each other about their day, about their workouts, about their nutrition. And so it gave me so much joy and gratefulness to be able to plug into that space and kind of remove myself from the toxic environment that I was in at the time and plug into something that was just so much more uplifting. So even though I was serving them, it was really serving me in return. So those are, 3 kind of things. This is another little thing. Your brain is not designed to make you happy. So if you aren't controlling your brain's, output, your brain, think about it from like a caveman or cavewoman perspective, right? We are designed to stay alive, and we're not designed to make ourselves happy. That's something that you really got to train yourself to do. We're designed to watch out for the tigers and, all of these things. And so if you're not controlling your mental state, your brain is always going to be looking for what's wrong, survival mode. And when you're in survival mode, sometimes we need that, but there's not a whole lot of space for creation. There's not a whole lot of space for growth. If all of your resources of your brain and your mental state are dumping into how can I survive this moment, it's a lot more tricky to think about really plugging into something. So let's pull this all together. How can this help your business? So number one, and the most important probably ever, and even in this season in our lives right now, change your story and your life will change. And I know Melissa has absolutely changed her story from A to Z in the past several years, and we've all gotten to witness that and really, benefit from even seeing her testimony. But changing your story from being the victim, from being this happened to me, and a lot of times it did happen to you, I'm not negating that, but when you're able to say, how am I able to benefit from this? How am I able to go back and give? Why did this happen to me that I can give something to someone else? And really changing that story from the victim to the victor is just the absolute most empowering thing you can do for yourself. So in the midst, and this again, it's just like a muscle that you're working out. The more bicep curls that you do, what happens? Your bicep gets stronger and stronger. So every time something comes up for you, a challenge in your life, whether it be something so simple, you get a red light. Every time I get a red light on the way to school, I've rewired my brain to say, there was a reason I got that red light. There was something that happened up ahead that God said, slow down and stop. And I've rewired my brain to say, hey, now if I'm late, I'm late, but let me not be an angel. But, it's really becoming, really overuse of that muscle to say, hey, something, this is happening for me, not to me. And so that's just what I was talking about. I was on point. All right. Whenever you hit a challenge, reprogram your primary question from why did this happen to me? Instead ask, why did this happen for me? And doing that really, really helps you start thinking about what do I get to learn from this? Who do I get to serve? And apply that pain that makes a change to your business. So if it's something like, man, I totally ran out of money before the month ended this month. How can I apply that to my business? Oh my goodness, I'm so thankful that even though this happened this month, I have this opportunity with Beachbody. I have this opportunity with my business to go out and create. Nobody puts a time clock on you and says, hey, you need to quit inviting. You could stay up like with toothpicks in your eyeballs and invite every single person in the entire universe to your challenge groups. Like, you are the absolute one in control. So, when these things, these pain points do come up, really, really take them as leverage, take them as an opportunity. And I say it all the time. I'm so thankful that I found Beachbody when I did, when I was in such a dark and troubling area and place and time in my life, because my back was against the wall. So I didn't have the luxury of saying, oh, I hope this works out. That would be fun. It was really a do or die for me. So I really, am thankful at this point. Of course, it's really tough to see it in the moment, but in retrospect, I'm so thankful for, having that opportunity. It really was an opportunity. And again, our minds aren't who we are. So if you find yourself, coming back to this place where over and over you find yourself in a place of frustration or in a negative type emotion, just, that's fine. That's the way you've been programmed for 30, 40, 50 years. That's okay. We're in this place where we get to, again, just like the bicep muscle that I just used, we get to practice these techniques and, retrain our minds to really give us something else. And one of the best things, whether it be in your challenge groups or even in your business, every temptation is a chance for transformation. And I love to use the example of this, like, when I was in one of the test groups one time that corporate had me in, I remember that in the beginning, I was like, man, every time I was at a party and the cupcakes would go by, and I'd be like, oh man, like, and I'd be like, man, Debbie Downer, I can't have a cupcake. Oh, this sucks, But the minute that I started shifting and realizing something, I don't even remember what it was, that something helped me realize that every time this cupcake came by at a party, oh my gosh, every time I said no, I was that much closer into my transformation. I was that much closer to my, to my goals. And every time now that cupcake came past, instead of me sitting there feeling sorry for myself that I couldn't have a cupcake, I watched that cupcake go by and I was like, yeah, there goes that cupcake. And I'm not having it because I'm transforming. And just that simple, tiny shift, guys, that is something that you can apply to anything. But the foundation of that being every temptation is a chance for transformation. So when you're tempted to skip your invites, when you're tempted to skip a team call, and not you, because you guys are on, you guys rock. Every time you have a temptation to do something, you're sitting at SC4 on the 30th and you think you've exhausted every avenue, and then you're like, you know what? No, this is a chance for me to transform. This is a chance for me to transform. And right now I may be being tested, but this is my time to level up and prove it. So it becomes a lot less, and a lot more, yay. Does that make sense? Whoever used sound effects like me, just me. So again, 2 tangible steps to turn the psyche into a massive business success, and we'll wrap it up after that. Did I skip it? Shift your identity. That's a big one. Oh, that's okay. Vision's one of them. Vision is dare to dream and create your roadmap to success. I always say that this business and entrepreneurship in general is for the audacious people. And I'm reading a book right now that's absolutely freaking outstanding. I don't know if it's backwards, but somebody drop it in the chat if you can. Fierce, Free, and Full of Fire. And she's just, it's amazing the content that's in here, but just like, it's so exciting for me to like plug into something like this and just say she touches on a piece, the word audacious reminded me of it, because she says, a lot of times, in our worlds, men were, the audacious, and men were this, and it's not a feminist book, don't worry, it's fine. But there's this piece in it where she says, and a lot of times women were programmed, like, if you're audacious, if you're brave, if you're all these things that a man would be called assertive, you were considered obnoxious if you were a female, or you were considered this. So a lot of times women have shied away from this. And I know that we are in an era right now that we are all grabbing hold of the power of that. And audacious is becoming a very powerful thing for women. And courageous and brave and all these things are something that, yes, that's exactly what you need to be successful in this business. It's audacious for you to look at somebody and say, why not me? But that's exactly what you have to do. You have to look at it and say, okay, she's cool and all, but why not me? Why can't I do that? And that's what I did. And that's what Melissa's done. And that's what so many successful people have done, who have gotten to that point where they're like, why not me? Why can't I? And it's that audacious and that assertive nature that follows with, from having a vision. So I know when I started this business, vision, goals, any of that was foreign to me. I would have looked at you like, yeah, that'd be cool. I just want to pay for my groceries. I just want to keep the lights on this month. And maybe that's where you're at. And that's totally cool. So for me, vision was like foreign word. Goals, no. I specifically remember a run that I was on with a friend, and I'm telling her, I just need to, that it is what it is. I just need to learn how to smile through it. And thinking back on that mindset that I had at that point, and I was totally serious, but I think God burned it into my heart for me to always remember that moment, because being able to look back and see how hopeless and lost that I was versus the person that I am today. But it was because I got audacious and brave enough to say, why not me? And so, when you do this, screenshot this if you want, but what would your life be like if it was exactly the way you want it to be today? And I had this moment last week that it was just like, this is what I asked for. And it was cool because it was like cool stuff in the morning. I woke up, I worked out early. I went to ride the horse that I've always wanted since I was born. But you guys, it was like, let me make sure my door is closed. The most amazing piece of that day. Like I did all these fun, cool, flashy, like cool things in the morning, right? And I thought, yay, this is what I wanted. And it was really cool. But that Thursday, Angelina has early release from school. And I went to pick her up at 1:45 because I can pick her up at 1:45 because I, made this my full-time job. And she got into the car and burst into tears, had the absolute worst day she'd ever had. And I was able to be there with her. And I went and got her lunch. And I put my phone away and I sat down with her and I looked at her while she ate her lunch. And I held her. And she's going to be 11 years old. So I don't think I've given her a bath in like 5 years. And she asked me if I could give her a bath. I was like, yes. And I got to massage her head and do her shampoo. And we sat on the couch and it was so crazy that in the morning I was thinking, this is everything I ever wanted. How cool. But then that really sucky part at the end of the day wound up being just so much more magical for me, because that is what I wanted. I wanted to be there for my kids when they need me. And I didn't want her to have a bad day, but to know that I could be there when she needed me, whether I realized it or not that morning, that was huge. And so, what does that look like for you? And maybe you don't want to make this your full-time job. Maybe you love your career. That's fine. But what does it look like for you? Does it look like having a plan B? What would you change right now about your life? And don't think that it's silly. You can have what you want if you're willing to work for it. What would you enhance? Who would you spend more time with? Would it be your family? Would it be your parents? Are your parents aging? My parents are aging. Every time I get to spend more time with them, it's like, oof, I'm really thankful for that. Who would you appreciate more? What would you appreciate more? What would you do? It's something that's really important. And then begin to shift your identity. And this is probably the most powerful piece that I can tell you right now. Again, Tony Robbins, the most powerful force in our human psychology is the need to remain consistent with our identity. And so I'll give you a really quick example of that. Another, test group example. I had gotten fit with Beachbody. I was a fit mom, and I still cringed at the cupcakes, because I liked eating cupcakes and having, my treats here and there. And, I was fit mom. But one day I decided, this year, I really want to be an athlete. And I started looking at all these girls on CrossFit and I said, I really want to be an athlete. And I was nowhere near what I would consider an athlete at that point. But I started saying, I'm going to be an athlete. And in my little home area where I worked out, I had a whiteboard and I wrote on the top, I'm an athlete. And every morning I got up and I looked at it and I said, I'm an athlete. I'm an athlete. I'm an athlete. I'm an athlete. And I started noticing that in my workouts, I was pushing harder, because I'm not just a fit mom anymore. I'm an athlete. And even though I looked nothing like an athlete, I felt nothing like an athlete. I looked like a bulbous. I looked like a silly person. No. But I was telling myself way before I looked like an athlete, I'm an athlete. I'm an athlete. I'm an athlete. And you know what happened? When, the treats started coming at parties, I would have a glass of wine, but then that second glass would come and I'd be like, no, because I have to train in the morning. I'm an athlete. And it wasn't that much as hard as it was before, because it was that mindset shift that said, no, I'm an athlete. And so because I started changing in my head, my identity, my actions began to follow. So the same thing, if you're working on being a diamond coach, a star diamond coach, and a premier coach, an elite coach, $1 million earning coach, you need to start telling yourself, if you're telling yourself, oh, I'm just doing this for a hobby, but secretly in the back of your mind, you really want to be $1 million earner, you better change that. Because if you're just telling yourself you're just a hobby coach, and maybe you're just saying that because you don't have the audacity or the courage just yet to say, no, I'm going after it, because you're afraid of what if you fail, I have to tell you, you've got to just start going after that, because once you shift your identity, that's when the actions are going to start shifting with you. And that's when it gets that much easier to align everything that you're doing. But if you're just saying, oh, I'm a hobby coach, but yeah, I really want to be at the leader retreat, and I really want to, walk across stage at Summit next year, and you've got to change your identity. So right now, even if it feels silly, start talking to yourself, start telling yourself what you are right now. Start writing it everywhere. Start telling people, no, I'm this. Whatever it is for you, start putting it out there. And as silly as it may seem, your actions will start to follow. So finishing up the PowerPoint, beliefs have the power to create and the power to destroy. Human beings have the awesome ability to take any experience of their lives and create a meaning that either disempowers them or one that can literally save their lives. So I know that lots of us are in a tricky season right now. I know that a lot of us, are dealing with things that no one should have to deal with, or that we've never even felt like, would be something that we would ever deal with. But here we are. And so what you choose to do with it really is up to you. And the power that you're going to, get from this season is really something that's entirely up to you. And so I implore you as a victor to join me up here in the victor realm, because guys, there's, and again, I never want to minimize anything that anyone is going through or will go through or has gone through, because there's a lot of, injustices and everything else, but what you do with it is up to you. And taking control of that, taking power of that is really something that's just incredible. So, I know that I don't focus a whole lot on the business aspects of this, but mindset is everything in this business. Whenever I have a coach struggling, I always ask them, and they know. And so a lot of times they don't even want to come to me anymore, because my first question is, what's your personal development? What are you doing right now? And 9 times out of 10, they've, oh, well, I was reading, or, oh, I was listening to, and I've gotten away from it. Okay. And I'm not mad at them. It's just, let's pick that back up. And once we pick that back up, everything else picks back up. And, it's the same thing for your workouts. It's the same thing for your nutrition. When you are on your programs, Heather was just in the chess group. So I bet you it's coming out of her pores, the excitement for 30-day breakaway and for Beachbody and for everything else, because she's so engaged in that process that it's organic and people feel energy. People know the authenticity when you're speaking with that. So it's so important. Work on yourself and really, really let everything, move from there. So hope that was a good heart hug. I'm happy to answer any questions or heart hug, kick in the butt.
I mean, it was incredible. It was really, I think, what we all needed to hear. One of my favorite things on these calls is to sit back and watch our team's faces and how they're reacting to it. And I saw emotion, I saw the head nods, I saw the fervorous taking of the notes. And so I think we needed this heart hug. I think we needed this reminder kick in the pants, because you guys know Beachbody is just everything to me and my family, and it's given us so much. And so I do feel responsible to continue to pave the way and to bring this into people's lives, because it's changed my life and it's connected me with people like Aimee and like all of you guys. And it's so fun to get to watch people grow, just like Aimee, said, when she gets in her back office, and only can she see Katrina's organization doing and Maddie's organization's doing, which are two powerhouse elite teams on our team, right? And it's exciting. And as Aimee was talking about this season, it reminded me of something that I thought when I was washing the dishes today. And my kids are around the house and school was done. Hallelujah. Distance learning has been challenging. Let's just say that. But it's getting easier every single day. And here's why. I'm shifting my mindset. I'm making a choice in the morning that it's going to be a good day, and I'm setting them up for success. My boys are rocking it. It's the kindergarten. If I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But you know what I thought today is, this is setting our kids up for really good work ethic.
Yep.
They're on time. They're like, I literally don't tell the boys when to get on. They just know, right? They have to upload stuff. It's teaching them these life skills. And the other thing is, just like Aimee was saying, when Angelina got in the car the other day and had that really rough day, I know I've come into our pods or our team page and literally ugly cried and been like, this is why. Like, the recognition, the accolades, all that stuff's cool. But like, knowing my kids have a mom who has their back, that's why I do this. That's why I do this, right? So I want to encourage you to be brave. And maybe you haven't seen my post, but yesterday I'm going to do something that I feel like is really scary, but also something that's been on my heart for a long time, and I'm going to just go into action. And I'm putting together my first book. It might not come out for the next 10 years, but it's going to happen. And it's
awesome.
a collection of stories of bravery, like what's made you brave. And I want you guys to think about your story. What's your brave moment? Because right now, in this season that we're in, we're all having to be incredibly brave. Just remember grace, because not every day is going to be sunshine and rainbows. Give yourself some grace. Give your kids some grace. Give your kids' teachers some grace. I will try to give AT&T some grace once I cancel them. But this is a challenging season, but we don't have to suffer through it. There's a lot of really good, incredible things. And our job as coaches is we get to go out and we get to be those light bringers, and we get to be those chain breakers, and we get to be those transformation seekers, right? Because we see stuff in one another or other people before they even see it. That's our job as a coach, is to help them. So if you guys have anything for Aimee, reach out to her. She's amazing. She's a busy mom just like us. She's running a business, so she might not get back to you right away, but she will. She always does. I can send and pass on anything as well. But thank you for giving us this time. Again, this is going to be one that, I mean, for everyone watching it later, I hope you got as much as we got out of this live call. But this is one of those calls where I feel like we're going to go back and put on while we're getting ready in the morning. Or when we have those really hard days that want to bring us to our knees, we need that Aimee reminder, right? So I love you guys. Praying for you every single day. In your corner tomorrow morning, there is network-wide prayer at 5 a.m. The crazy ones, Stephanie and I are on it. Sabrina, like we're on it every week from the West Coast. I know Heather's been getting on. I've seen Aimee pop on now. I'm like, dang, Diesel Nation is like showing up on the Dynasty call, but it's incredible. And tomorrow is going to be Moira, who is just phenomenal. She's like Aimee. She's just one of those people when they speak, like you want to be present and hear. So if you can get on, please do. Love you guys. Have an amazing evening. Aimee, thank you, my friend. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.